Hello, everyone. It's Americo. Welcome to another episode of the Storytelling Journey. My co host, Jay Pasqua, is stuck in Alabama rush hour. Now, not sure if rush hour in Alabama is any different than other parts of metropolitan areas, but perhaps the high heat, rubbers are, tires are melting, the rubber's sticking to the road, and everyone is kind of slowing down. So, Jay, drive safe and get here when you're able to, and we'll bring you up on stage and you can join the conversation. Want to take a moment to welcome everyone who is joining us in the audience on Team Live. Hello, drop comments. Love to know where you're joining us from. And if you have questions along the way, feel free, drop them in the comments and we'll be sure to bring them up and try to address and answer questions that you might have for our guest or myself or Jay, and we'll try to answer those in real time. Otherwise, we will engage and circle back and get you the responses that you're looking for to the questions we may not have answered. All right, so our guest today is Laura Sheppard. We'll be welcoming her on stage in just a moment. But before we do so, these live events and the replays are designed with intent and with purpose, and that is to help everyone who participates be seen, heard, and remembered. So if you're joining us live, if you're joining us on Team Replay, take the opportunity to share this stage, network, reach out to like-minded professionals, and welcome them into your community. I'm sharing some of the lovely professionals that we've had guests on shows that I've participated in, and I'd love to see this grow. All right, moving on. Let's welcome our guests. But before we do that, let's jump into the studio. All right, Laura, welcome to the show. It is a pleasure to have you back. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you, Americo. It's always amazing chatting with you. And I appreciate all you do and all the effort you put into making this consistent over time. And you have different stages. And I love talking with you. So thank you for having me.
Well, it is a pleasure, and I enjoy sharing our stage with like-minded people, professionals, job seekers. You know, this is a great vehicle. And just yesterday, I was sharing the tremendous difference in engagement stats. By far, live events, these virtual events, have 41% engagement when compared to all other formats and styles of content. Next closest is at 6.5% are carousels. So
Wow. That's
it
insane.
it
I love
is
it.
insane. And why people haven't leaned into these virtual events, whether it is for a product launch, whether it is for community building, I still can't wrap my head around. But let me tell you, I am ready, willing, and able to help anyone who wants to consider and supplement this as part of their business or marketing strategy. They can reach out to me. But this isn't about me for the moment. This is your hour. You are the founder of North by Northwest Coaching and Consulting. You're a leadership coach, a fractional CMO, and you have a framework that we'll probably dive into a little later. Be your own compass. But
Yes.
why don't we start by having you introduce yourself and tell us a little about who Laura is and the community that she serves.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Americo. Yes, my company is North by Northwest Coaching and Consulting. I am a leadership coach and fractional CMO. My background is I have like 25 plus. I say 25 plus because when I say 30, it makes me go, ah. But 25 plus years in the corporate world, mostly in CPG marketing. And so the extra little 4 years when I get up to like over 25, I did a pivot and went to the Caribbean for 4 years and taught scuba diving and drove boats. So, that's when I go 30 years. It's not all 30 years in corporate. So, but the bulk of my my work in the past has been in corporate, in the marketing world. And so I've coached teams throughout my career. And I really found my passion in focusing on coaching and helping people grow and get past their blocks and figure out the story they're telling themselves in their own head. And it's like, how is it serving you and how is it not serving you? And how can, we all can change the story that we're listening to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In
So
changing, not only changing the story, but sharing the story. And this is what this show is all about. It's the
yes.
storytelling journey. It's about bringing your narrative to life and letting others know that it's okay to share your story.
Yes.
People want to hear the vulnerabilities and the trials and tribulations that people go through. And there's nothing more rewarding than sitting here or reading a text message or a DM where someone says that something resonates with them, something we may come and publish aligns with them. But more importantly, it's those who recognize, wow, how far you've come. And that is, I would say, the most rewarding when people recognize the journey. It's like a year ago, I remember exactly where you were. A year ago, I was in a similar position. And here we are a year later. And look at us. There was no looking back. So
it's so true. I love that. It's so powerful to realize that you're right. We met a year ago. We were both in very different positions, and now both of us are thriving. And not that we weren't thriving before, but we're more in transition. And I love that you said everybody wants to hear your own story. Like it's important to tell a story about your lives and look at it from a point of view of, this is my story and how do I want to move through it and continue with it. And it tells you you're not alone. We all have it. It's like I remember the times when I'm like, oh my God, nobody can understand me. And it's like, well, wait, when you start sharing your story with others, people go, yeah, I get that. I've been there. And you then don't feel alone and you feel supported. So story is so powerful.
It is powerful. And these events, I shared a statistic moments ago. I'll share another one because a lot of people get hung up on, oh my goodness, we're live. No one's listening, or there are very few people listening. Listen, the magic not only happens during the live, but the legacy and the magic that happens after far surpasses what happens live. So for those who are joining live, we're multi-streaming on YouTube as well as LinkedIn. We don't have any comments, but rest assured, if you want to share your thoughts, your sentiments, feel free to do so. Drop them in the comments, whether it is participation through this live event or during replay. We welcome engagement of all types. We understand that people will register to these events, but not necessarily be able to show up at the time that they are being broadcast. And that's what I love about live events. We talk about the statistic. Let me back it up here. Written content. I was doing some research. A written post after 3 days, if you ask someone if they remember something that they came across or scrolled through 3 days ago, 10% of respondents share that they recall or have some recollection of something that they scrolled through that was written. Whereas with written, 65% retention. 3 days later, people will still remember something that they heard or that they saw and visualized.
That's so powerful, because this is where part of where what I believe and what I help people see is it's all our senses. We kind of get stuck in a path sometimes where it's like, okay, I just got to write, like you said, I just got to write, I just got to put this out there, and I just got to do this, and the writing is everything. And we're multifaceted people, and some people learn and see and live their lives best visually. Some people learn it auditory. Some people learn it, kinesthetically, where they have to touch and feel and embody it. And some people just know, right? It's a feeling and it's a knowing that happens. And what's powerful is that we are all different. And it's like understanding who you are in that journey then helps you, like if you're having struggle learning something or listening or trying to figure something out, it's like, how do you learn best, right? And it is so powerful, the stats that you just said, because visual and audio are always stronger in general with the population about how they take information in, right? And the words we use are the smallest part of our communication.
So let's jump in, and I promise this is my last statistical rant, and then we'll jump into questions and and have a conversation around you and how we can get you seen, heard, and remembered. So, content is distributed and produced in a variety of styles and formats. Only 25%, when I last checked, this is changing constantly, but 25% of consumers of content prefer that their content be consumed, or their preference is written content. So 25% of people want to read what they're consuming. Another 25% prefer to listen to what they're consuming. And no surprise, 50% of people want to see. Now, here's what I love about what I'm doing here and what I can do for others is we can take this and we can repurpose today's episode. We can transcribe it, turn it into a blog. People can read the key takeaways from today's conversation, which I will eventually post and repurpose on different platforms. It could be part of my email campaign, could be part of my newsletter, an article, or I'll jump over to Substack and write a blog. I can also just take the audio and post it into, Spotify. If I have a creator account, turn it into a podcast, or you just share the audible clips across your different social channels. So you're now widening your audience. And it's not just an audio event or an on-camera event. You're now providing that message. And if I put my marketing hat on, I believe that's referred to or similar to the omni channel experience.
Absolutely.
The message is the same regardless of where you're consuming it and how you're consuming it.
That's powerful.
I learned that when I first started my creator journey. I was talking about customer experience because that's where my passion was, all my cross-functional skills. And, that was part of my story. That's where I was driving value. But those who understood the message would nod. Those who didn't understand the message, like, yeah, this is over my head. I'm not interested. And they would move on. Then part of my narrative, I had to pivot and realize, all right, we got to give our community what they want. And what they want is just social selling. Just come out, tell your story, come out and bring value, educate. There's no pitching on any of these shows. We're just helping one another deliver each other's message, amplify each other's voice. And when you do this and consider this part of either a supplement to an existing strategy and understand that you're doing this with the long tail, and people start to reach out. And I'm at that point now, and I'm excited. And I'm excited that you're part of this journey for me, as I am here, part of your journey as well. So let's jump into the questions. Enough about. I promise, no more stats.
Hang on. Let me just say one thing, Americo, because you are really good at what you do, and you are really open and supportive of everybody in your community, and you are giving and you know how to make this work. And it's so powerful what you do, and your stats are important. And what I hear is, which really resonated with me right there, was, it's not just doing one thing that you like to do. It's like expand and do all of the different mediums in a way that supports you. because people around us listen, hear, learn, watch, see, communicate differently. And so you're providing multiple platforms where people can watch and listen and have the written word and all of those things. And you're really good at what you do. So thank you, America.
Well, thank you. That is, I'm humbled by that sentiment. Thank you for sharing that. So
My pleasure.
let's jump into a variety of questions. I'm going to take these in no particular order because I like to keep this conversational. But you talk a lot about, here, let's bring it up here. You talk about success being measured and aligned. So this great segue. How do you help professionals shift external validation to help them be fulfilled? Tell us a little about and maybe it doesn't have to be diving into this question verbatim, but let's have a conversation around the value that you bring in helping others align with what they're trying to manifest and accomplish.
Awesome. Well, thank you for asking, because to me, this is the foundational. And I've been there. It's like I grew up in this world working where I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I checked all the boxes. I'm a high achiever. I got all the things. I got the gold ribbons. I got the promotions. I did what I thought I was supposed to do. And that was what was supposed to make me happy. And one day I woke up and went, is this all there is? It's like, it's good. I learned a lot. I've loved it. Like, the journey was great, but I got to a point where it was like, there's got to be something more. And that's when I started looking inward versus outward. And so for me, it was understanding what truly is important to me. So I talk a lot about values, and values can also be superficial. And I try to go deep. So what I help people see is what truly matters to them, and I push them. And yeah, I know that's whatever. It's, you got to want to work with me. It's all good. But I challenge people to go deeper so that they really understand and come up with what's important to them. And then from that foundation of getting to the core of what's important, then we can start building, what does success look like for you then? Right?
Yeah, so absolutely. So let's dig in a little deeper. So what you're telling me, and here's how I interpret or translate it. Two words that resonate with what you just said. Clarity is one, right? It's all about helping someone find their clarity. And that starts with, and you didn't say it verbatim, but I will say it because that's what's pumping in my head. What is your why?
Yes.
Right. And that is key. A lot of people, myself included, and I'm sure you have stories and part of your narrative that talks about the uncertainty, the murky and unclear objectives that we once started with. We all want it to be all things to all people. It's like, oh my goodness, I have all this cross-functional skills and all this experience, and I can just find solutions and create solutions for any problem that comes my way. And then you realize, like, yeah, no one's listening when the message is really unclear.
Yes.
And that's, in my instance, and perhaps yours as well, and everyone who's listening, our why wasn't clear enough. And people would just, all right, this person isn't ready. They haven't built enough trust for me to want to continue to listen. But that comes with time. And the time horizon varies across different coaching professions, different consulting professions, and different professions in general. We all learn at different paces and we learn differently, right? So, am I going,
No,
or am I too far
is
from the truth,
perfect.
clarity,
No.
and the why?
I love how you reframed it in your words, because you're definitely taking away what my intention is. And it's like that that why, the Simon Sinek, what's your why? I mean, it's powerful. And it's not just surface though. So where I like to help my clients is I make sure that their why is real, like it's deep. And so this is where, from my experience and my own personal experience, and when I see my clients get alignment within themselves, that's where the alignment comes within you. And as soon as you understand your why, whatever that be, and whatever doesn't, across all areas of life, it doesn't matter, but whatever your alignment is with your why, and you're clear on that, then you have a direction, and then you can start laying down the cobblestones to follow the path, right? And it doesn't mean that the direction at the end, or the outcome is not what matters. And I know that sounds ridiculously hokey, sorry. But it is the journey, because what's powerful, what I've seen in my clients, is when they've identified got clarity, identified their why, start going along the path, they suddenly also see other possibilities along the path. And then they're able to consciously say, okay, do I want to keep this direction, or do I want to deviate or not, with intention, right? Because they're clear. Does that make sense? But as you go
Absolutely.
along the path, you learn more. And as you learn more, you're like, oh, okay, that outcome was what I thought I wanted. Now it's not, now it's something else. And it's okay to adapt and change. And I think we get stuck in our world of, we got to achieve this. And that's all we're doing. And we miss things along the way that actually could fulfill us and be more in alignment.
I totally agree. And that's a great segue for our next question. So let's shift into that leadership mindset. And I believe it was you who referenced that leadership isn't about managing people. It's about mastering yourself. And you touched on that briefly.
Yes.
Right? So can you elaborate what led you to that
Absolutely.
realization?
Absolutely. I have done my share of managing people in my career, and I've loved managing people. And when sometimes it doesn't go well, it's like, how do you help people do what you cannot do? And in the times that it was, when I struggled with some of it, what I realized was I wasn't aligned with leading myself. I was doing something I thought I should be doing. And it's like, and it comes back to the why. And it's like, when you get alignment within yourself and you master the leadership within yourself, then you become authentically you all the time. And that energy that you give out, people resonate with. And if they don't resonate, and that's okay. Like, not everybody's going to be, it's not rainbows and unicorns, but it's like, and everybody's not going to resonate with you, but you're standing tall and firm versus swaying in the wind and unsure. And when you're sure about yourself and confident, because you're aligned and mastered within you, then other people listen, and you have stronger influence and stronger leadership skills, because you're coming from a foundation of strength. It's like you're a tree with deep roots versus, something drifting around on the leaves drifting in the wind. You actually have your roots in the ground. And it doesn't mean everybody loves you. It doesn't mean everybody agrees with you, but there's a leadership quality that comes through innately because of that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And perfect. It's almost as if this is rehearsed.
But it's not.
But it's not. This is two people having a conversation,
I love it.
and I do this purposely, because I have questions that I want to ask. I try to the best of my ability, unless I'm asked to provide them in advance. I try not to, so that my guests don't feel that they need to overthink, or just, I want people to feel natural and comfortable and
Yes.
just have a conversation.
I love that about you. It's totally, your topic is storytelling. And so that's what we go in with. And then you show up with your questions, and we have a conversation. I love it.
Absolutely. So let's jump into some of the common signs that some people chasing more instead of choosing better.
Ooh,
And
that's a good
maybe I can elaborate. Listen, I'll use myself as an example. I wanted to manifest this for quite some time. And instead of choosing this, I kept staying the course. Corporate job. This is working for me. It's paying my bills. Am I happy? Yeah, most times. Am I unhappy? Yeah. We all have our thoughts and our fair share of stories of, oh man, if I could only exit this. But you kind of drink the Kool-Aid and you kind of go with it. But here, you and I and many like us, you hit a crossroad and it almost seems like that proverbial tap on the shoulder. And you look around and there's no one there. But that's your sign. It's like, all right, now's the time. No time like the present to make this happen. It was a good run. Now spread your wings and fly.
Yes, I love it.
So
And
while you answer the question or collect your thoughts, Jay is joining us. He's backstage. I'm going to bring him up and we'll welcome him.
awesome.
Jay, welcome to the show. How was, did your tires melt? Is it too hot? What was the cause for today's rush hour? Is there a story?
Well, there's a bunch of things going on behind the scenes with me. There's been a shift in leadership where I work at the Nature Center, and I'm having to kind of pick up some things. Mostly my jaw, because I was shocked by the turn of events. But and so I was backstage listening, and a couple of things really stood out to me. One, I'll share this briefly. What you were talking about, reaching as many people as possible, right? The different channels. Back in the day, it was three things, right? Radio, TV, and the newspaper. And a lot of that is just going away. And I can recall a newspaper ad from, and this is not too far off, right, in the past. It's in the 90s. And it was a Radio Shack advertising, right? This Radio Shack advertisement, right? And for those of you 30 and below, Radio Shack was the Best Buy. Just they had red branding colors. That's pretty much the difference. And of course the technology. And on that note, the technology, everything that was in this advertisement, right? All the technology at that time can now fit in your pocket. And so with technology, the change of technology comes the change of how we consume content. And when you were talking about it, you may have, yes, it's 25% for written content, 25% for audio content. But I think those numbers are growing rapidly. And, I'm going back, see, I'm dating myself and saying all of this stuff, but just to illustrate a point, back in the day, the people that I knew that had some sort of audio cast, right? It was really just a radio show back in the day that had anything to say that was, picked up by the mainstream was Rush Limbaugh. And then really on the other side, Howard Stern. So you had this dichotomy of content just on those two individuals. But now you could go on a podcast and any radio show, which also streams, and the content is immense. You can go from, talking about politics to talking about, fishing, and they all have an audience. The thing that ties all of this together, though, is our audience, the people that we are trying to help. And how we do that, whether it be through the use of technology or through the use of systems, right? Those are the things that are going to truly impact them. And when I was thinking about what you were talking about, it's really I'm wanting to get, and I made a pivot in the recent past. I wanted to have an impact either in healthcare or in the environment, not just social impact, but societal impact, right? And so for me, the shift was immense, right? I'm not just thinking about finances. I'm not just thinking about, how am I going to pay the mortgage? I'm thinking about how can I change society? And when you think of that in those terms, and now I'm getting to the point, um, when you think about it from those terms, right, that you have to look inwardly at what do you really want to do when you when you leave this earth, right, this plane. What do you want to leave as your legacy? And to me, not just bringing home a paycheck, but impacting our communities, either here or abroad, is what's important to me. And that's what shifted my direction in not just storytelling, but now working in the environment as a person who wants to help conservation. 1,200 acres of pristine property that really is trying to give people an outlet away from the hustle and bustle of, daily living. And so if we start to look at it and frame things in that perspective, some of us can make that shift. But even if you don't, I think that inward look that Laura was talking about and how we help one another can push us in the right direction. So I know that's a lot to unpack, but I hope that brings some clarity from my point in the conversation.
It absolutely does, and I'll have Laura chime in. Here's what I'm picking up. You talked about clarity. You now have confidence in your message and in your purpose, right? And that actually was a question I had, and we'll bring it up now. How do clarity and confidence show up differently? You've demonstrated, and you just broke it down.
Yep.
Right?
Sorry.
And,
Yes, Jay, that was powerful.
And yeah, Jay's. I'm happy to be Jay's sidekick because he brings a lot of power.
Wait a minute. I'm your sidekick.
Okay, stop it, boys. No, what was powerful about that is like you want to make what I heard. You want to make impact in our world, and that is you reached a point where like what's the next step for you, and you looked inward to find your why, to get the clarity, to choose within you that this was the direction that you wanted to go, and now you're making impact on many more people and the environment in the world because you've chosen to be aligned with who you are. So it gives you that confidence so that you show up exactly as you want to be, which then motivates the people around you as a leader to join your movement. Does that resonate?
All the way around.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this I'm telling you, things are just falling into place like Lego bricks. That sets a great stage. You talk about the be your own compass method. Can you walk us through, without giving away the farm, but at a very holistic, high level, tell us a little bit about the key pillars and tell us a little bit more about your method, because I'm picking up vibes from our conversation that this is a great place to drop this question.
Thank you, Americo. I appreciate it. And Jay, I appreciate being here again. And yes, be your own compass is my tagline, and my company is North by Northwest coaching and consulting, hence the compass falls in place. And to me, my method, it's about finding your path, whatever that is for you. And so my methodology approaches, so I'm a one-on-one coach is what I do best. And it's getting clarity. Number one, clarity is foundational. What matters most? And we've already talked a little bit about that. So it's getting clarity. And then it's creating that confidence, building the action plan that actually gives you confidence in yourself to follow that path. Right. And it's the baby steps. It's like you have the big vision and the clarity and the direction. And then we have to dial it back into the baby steps of what's the next best thing and the smallest next path that I can do towards that path, along that path and journey. So it's about getting clarity and creating your confidence, which then helps you become, I know this word is overused, but it's authentically you, right? It's authentically living in your values and your alignment so that it's not easy, but the steps are clear. And part of the journey is choosing your hard. Because life, I mean, I'd love it to be easy once we're clear. But it's easier when we have our clarity and our confidence. And then you have that courage to take those steps, live authentically, and then create that impact. So the last sort of part is, what is the impact you want? And all of these steps towards this, my process helps you create the impact that you want to make in your life, whatever that is. And it all starts with you. And we have such a ripple effect in our world when in any time we have a ripple effect, but when we're aligned, clear, aligned, authentic, and know where we want to go, it's powerful. The ripples that you impact people you don't even know you're impacting. Yeah. So sorry, I rambled a bit there.
No, that is good. And another great segue, which I know Jay would be best suited to answer. But you talk about authenticity, and yeah, despite it being used or overused, bringing your authentic self is important, regardless of how many times and how many people bring it up.
Agreed.
Right. So through
Yes.
storytelling, leaders communicate their vision with authenticity. Some will argue, like some leaders are better at it than others, but it does resonate and it complements what you just said. Jay has a purpose. He's true to himself about his purpose, and now he's building a legacy around his purpose. And I'm going to zip it here for a second, maybe let Jay jump in. Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, so it was it's going to be almost 2 years ago now when I started writing this book, The Rules of Engagement in Storytelling. And thing is, there's subtext and it mentions a compass. These 10 steps are a compass to help you find your way to tell your story. And so when you see this is perfect. We're really in alignment when we start living in our purpose. And when I started writing my book, as I started writing, every page reminded me of how to be a better writer. So it was like I was writing for myself every time I put my pen to paper and fingers to keyboard, all the time. And we don't realize this in our day-to-day life, that once you start living in your purpose, one of the people you help the most is yourself. You can do the introspection to get onto the journey, but once you're there, you sometimes forget oh, I'm the one steering this. I'm the one steering this car. I'm the one steering this SUV. And so if we don't remember that, we're just looking at the horizon and hoping that we get there. But once you start to realize, oh, that's why I did that for this person. Oh, that's why I wrote this in my book. It's so that I can learn. And once I learn, then I can help teach others. So that's what storytelling does, especially in the ways of trying to assist people to get from where they are to where they want to be. They have to come to a realization. And it's not just about that introspection at the onset, it's introspection throughout the journey.
Fascinating. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everything that both of you are sharing. And it just dawned on me. You know how people, or there's a reference that, people come together in a variety of ways. And when the stars align, you don't ask the questions. You just be grateful that someone or someone's presence has bestowed you and they share something that you took away and learned. And here's what I learned, and whether it's anecdotal or not, the three of us, if we look at our business logos, the three of us share a compass in some shape or form.
I love it. It's so powerful. So powerful. And what I love, what all of this, the storytelling is so, it's personal, introspective. Like you said, you have to go in, and we've all said it's like starting with yourself, but it's also community, and you can't do it alone. And we all need help, others to help us see sometimes what we can't see. Right. And so it's that combination of continuing the introspection throughout the journey and asking for help from others, so that, because it's a mentor of mine says you can't see the label from inside the jar. And I get it, sticks with me, because it's like, yes, I need to talk to my coach regularly, because it's like I go down the path and I'm like, I'm doing, and it's all good and I'm loving it and I'm aligned and things are working. But then it like shifts in a way, and I need help from my coach, from others, to help me see what I'm missing, because you can't see it all. We can't know it all as ourselves.
No, we
But it
can't.
brings me back into an alignment with me still. And it's like, we live in a world where there's so much going on. It's easy to get pulled in multiple directions. So having us have community to help us help each other amplify the ripple effect and continue our journeys still with ourselves. It's not a one and done thing, as you said, Jay. It's like it's a journey, and it's a process, and we shift our stories as we go, as we learn more, we know more, we do better, right? The Mary Angelou, when you know more, you do better. I'm probably not saying that correct, but we continue to grow and evolve and change and share, and it takes a village to make it happen.
Hey, growing, evolving, learning, sharing are all indicative of the one word that Jay leans in on quite frequently, and I support and back it up here. What we're doing is building a legacy. It's
Yes.
part of our legacy. And part of that legacy is failures. And if your legacy does not include failures, then you didn't try hard enough, or you gave up too soon or too quick. So let's dive into what does legacy mean to both of you, and how can professionals start building theirs today?
Oh, that's such a great question. I want to jump in first because I know Jay will have a stronger answer. No, I'm kidding. But the legacy to me is I want like legacy to me when I'm done, what have I left? And what is my legacy? My legacy is how I've made people feel, how I've supported people, how I've supported people grow, how I want people to feel in their life that I've helped them surpass me. I've helped them succeed. There's no like competition. It's like, how can I just support people and people leave going, wow, she helped lots of people and it didn't matter who or where or how or why. And it was, to me, legacy is about helping the people around you grow and learn and achieve. Achieve in a sense of humans. That's human nature. We have to continue to strive. It's just kind of the human nature. And I want people, and I think professionals can start with, how can I help my team? How can I help others succeed? Because that means, in my opinion, that means I'm winning, I'm succeeding. If my team is winning, if my team surpasses me, if the people around me grow and thrive, that means I'm successful.
Jay?
Oh, yeah.
And, hold on. Where are my manners? Thank you, Laura. That was
All good.
that was powerful.
And Laura, you give me too much credit. I'm just kidding. But so I'll halfway quote Maya Angelou, just like you did, Laura. It's people won't forget what you said. They'll forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel. So if you've made an impact in a person's life, it's hard not to hit their emotions. It's hard not to hit them in their feels, so to speak. And so to me, that is the mark of a good legacy, something that you've done. And then I talked about it earlier for me, it's how do I impact society and not just social media? And that for me is really important. And so looking at legacy, what can somebody do right now, any professional? It's reach one, teach one, right? If you're helping somebody learn, if you're giving them information that's going to impact them, right? Sharing your story, your experience, right? The things that you learned, right? That thing I was talking about in my journey, then you're going to be able to really impact them in such a way that's going to change their lives, sometimes dramatically, sometimes just in a little bit of faith. Now, I believe that when we encounter people, we don't just impact them a little. We've all heard the phrase, the butterfly effect. So really, any little thing that we do for someone, we do really for the whole of humanity. And if you look at it from that sense, my story can impact somebody else's story and all the stories they can then generate from sharing their experiences with others. And that, to me, is the power of storytelling. And so, to the point, professionals, share your story, and you will see that can have a tremendous impact in the people you share that story with.
Beautiful. Well said. And I should have gone second because that could have just capped it off. So I often get reminded by my better half that not every conversation is a boardroom conversation. Like, let your guard down, loosen up a little bit. Not everyone needs to hear you speak in corporate language, but I'm going to lean into a little bit of corporate language here. When it comes to legacy, for me, it's about those who have come into my life, been part of my journey, and knowing that I'm leaving them in a better position than when they came into my life. That for me is my legacy. I want to be remembered for all the things that influenced the people who I touched at some point. And yes, some people will remember all of us for less than desirable reasons. But as long as the majority of anyone who remembers the impact I made on their life, and knowing that I influenced and played a role in leaving them in a better position than when they came or were part of or introduced to me, that is so fulfilling. And that is the legacy that I'm trying to build. And you hear the message, be seen, be heard, be remembered. And it's that be remembered that I want to turn my back. And here we are. We're going to use corporate language again. What's the saying? Like, about the best room to be in is, or people talk. Now I can't even think of it, but the room in which you're not in and people are talking about you is the best room to be in. Now, I just butchered that. Now I'm going to have to look it up and get the right quote. But there's an underlying message there. You don't necessarily have to be present to be remembered. Just be your best self. And here's a great example. We are in the dog days of summer. Are we sitting here having conversations with ourselves? It may feel that way. We didn't have any questions in the comments, but people are listening and people will continue to listen. And this will be part of our legacy. Once we go off the air, this conversation will live on forever. And we are at or close to the top of the hour.
Can I add something to what
you can
said,
add? Yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely go ahead.
I love what you both said, and I love the legacy that we all want to leave. It's about how you made people feel and being remembered for helping and how you feel. I want to add the part that there are people that we touch, we impact, we influence in a positive way that we have no idea we have done that. And that's the power of being in alignment and true to yourself and walking your path. There will people that you have no idea that the impact you've made on them. And I've had some of that in my life where they've come back to me years later. I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah. And I'm like, that it says it's so powerful that's the butterfly effect that you mentioned, Jay. There's people out there that we're impacting we don't know. So it's wonderful to have the knowledge that you're impacting. And there's the circle within that we can see. And then there's another circle that's being impacted. And that's exactly where this lives on. Whether you've seen it, heard it, us live or not, this will live on and we will impact others that we don't even know.
You're on point. I have a real life example. This is going back quite some time. And at that moment, I was working a role where I was responsible for customer escalations. And I was responsible for defusing escalations. And, we all have had our fair share, either as customers, trying to escalate to be better served, or been in a position where we're addressing and tackling someone's dissatisfaction. And I had one of my colleagues flying down to Trinidad for Carnival. So they're in this good mood. They're going to celebrate. They're going to go spend time with family and be part of a cultural ambiance. And so they were just hyped. And the person sitting next to them starts, a little bit of an icebreaker, starts the conversation. So what do you do for a living? And where do you work? And they shared where they worked. And the question came up, do you know a person, you might not know them, but do you know a person by the name of Americo DaCosta? And their hearts sunk because they knew what I was doing. It's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be 4 hours of complaining. And it turns out that this person who I helped over the phone met someone who worked with me and thought, it's like, you know what, when you get back to work, I want you to tell Americo that you met so-and-so. And they made a tremendous impact that I have never forgotten to this day. He took care of my needs. He went out of his way when he possibly didn't have to, but he took care of me with dignity and respect. And I want you to thank him personally for me. It's like, wow. How's that for touching someone you've never met? And then being rewarded with a story when someone comes back from vacation. It's like, you wouldn't believe who I just met. And I thought it was going to be like a 4-hour flight of an escalation that you couldn't help. And it turned out to be part of, or one of the grains of sand of the legacy that I've left.
Oh, that brings tears to my eyes. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, this is the platform, the storytelling journey. So thank you for spending the hour with us. Jay, I know that you and I, we say this anecdotally, but we are more connected. We're like brothers from different mothers, and we align so well. And I touched on being the dog days of summer. We're going to take a break. I know you're doing some traveling. You're going to go visit some family. Won't be here the next couple of weeks, but we will return after Labor Day sometime in September. So stay tuned. Laura, I want to thank you for spending the hour with us. And why don't you share, for those who want to reach out and connect, how can people get a hold of you?
Thank you, America. This has been an awesome conversation. I value how you support your community and others, and it's been powerful. So thank you so much. And I can never get enough talking about this stuff. So I love it. How people can get a hold of me, LinkedIn is the best method. I'm like, all of my contact info is in LinkedIn. But my website, nnwcoaching.com. But LinkedIn is the best. Like, you can book calls with me. You can connect with me. I'd love to make connections and just get to know people and get to see how I can support or not support or just be there. It's just powerful. So LinkedIn is the best form of connection that's out there. Thank you for it.
Fantastic. So for those listening on Team Replay, the QR code that is up will take you to Laura's LinkedIn landing page. Those who are listening and enjoyed the conversation, I said it at the onset of the conversation, and I'll say it throughout. Let's connect. This is a great platform and a great vehicle for us to meet like-minded professionals and help one another be seen, heard, and remembered. I do have a little bit of a treat. I'm going to let Jay take it home. And for those who have been following the last couple of weeks, we've been tinkering around with some theme music, some branding that aligns with the whole seen, heard, and remembered mantra. I have a verse and a chorus that I want to close the show off with. I want to share with you. So this is the first time I'm bringing this into one of our live events. Love to hear your thoughts. I will be dropping the entire song that I will integrate into the different shows. But for now, why don't we let Jay close things off for us? Jay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As a storyteller, I'm reminded of what I used to say. Not that many people know this, but I was once a slam poetry poet. And I enjoyed it tremendously. And when you hear the roar of the crowd, that really is the greatest feedback you can get as a poet, as a person who performs on stage. But I always went in with just this humble thought in mind. If I can just reach one person, just one person in the audience, then I've done my job as a storyteller. And many years later, the reason I started doing this was I was a cultural activist. My people and the language that we speak is on the endangered list of languages that are soon to disappear if we don't curate this cultural phenomenon for us. And so that was the content in my poetry. Many years later, I did one performance that became a 2-minute movie, and it actually went to the Smithsonian and then now is in the archives of NYU's film department. But that's not the accolades that stands out to me. It was the one woman who, living in the mainland contiguous United States, who was from Guam, saw this little tiny movie with my poem, and she decided right then and there she was going to go back home and get deeper involved in the community and in the culture. And so it brought me to tears. It really did, because that one person was her. And I didn't know it until many years later. And so the butterfly effect. Now, if you don't know what that is, if a butterfly flaps its wings, that wind can travel and become a typhoon on the other side of the world. So consider that when you are trying to impact and leave that legacy we were talking about in this conversation. So I hope all of that makes sense to someone out there, that one person in the audience.
Wow, that is deep. I've heard of the butterfly effect. I love the story that connects what the butterfly effect actually does, what it means to people, and the impact it has on people's lives. That is beautiful, Jay. All right. Let's close things off here. For those who don't know, my name's Americo. It has been a pleasure being your host today, and it's an even bigger pleasure helping you be seen, heard, and remembered. I want to thank all of you who stuck around, dropped in, and are part of this journey. Want to wish you all the best wherever you find yourself, whatever time it is for you. We're going to close the room, and until next time, which will be in a few weeks' time. Bye for now.
You're the energy burning bright. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together.